Stephen A., should our position on Kyrie change?
Yes, it should change in regards to Kyrie. It should be even worse than we originally imagined. You know, I have to be, and I try to be, incredibly careful, fellas, in terms of I try to focus on what you do, not who you are. People make mistakes. None of us are flawless. All of us have made mistakes. We'll continue to make mistakes. None of us are perfect. We get all of that. But I've been covering the NBA now for almost 25 years. I mean, this is some of the stupidest nonsense I've ever seen. Just flat out stupid. So let me get this straight. So if the reports are true, because we don't know whether they are or not, okay, but let's give credit to Sham and others who have reported this. It is what it is. Let's go with that, okay? If it is true, Jay, if it is true, Marcus, so you don't have a problem with taking the vaccine, your position is that you're going to sit up there and compromise the championship aspirations of an organization you signed on to represent. You coaxed Kevin Durant into signing on to represent. You played the role in coaxing James Harden into signing on to represent. You're going to compromise all of that because you want to give a voice to the voiceless. Really? And how is that going to work out for you, Kyrie Irving? You're going to disappear from the game of basketball? Who the hell is going to be interested in what you have to say when you have proven that you can't even be trusted enough to do your damn job? A job you volunteered for. This ain't the military where you were drafted. You chose to play basketball. You chose to enter the NBA. You chose to sign that contract as a free agent to go to the Brooklyn Nets. You chose Brooklyn as your destination. You chose the Nets franchise to represent. You asked KD and James Harden to come on board with you in Brooklyn to establish your own legacy, and then you leave them hanging. Because of what exactly? Your own individual principle? I am not calling Kyrie Irving stupid. Kyrie Irving, I happen to believe, is an intelligent brother whose heart is in the right place. But now you've regressed to an alarming level of self-righteousness. It not only makes you look hypocritical and untrustworthy, it makes you look what I know you are not, which is flat out stupid.
You know, I had to stop running away from using my voice and using my platform to, speak on what's true and what's mine. You know, nobody's going to hijack my voice. Nobody's going to take the power away from me that I have for speaking on these things, you know, and don't believe that I'm retiring. Don't believe that, I'm going to give up this game for a vaccine mandate or staying unvaccinated. Don't believe any of that shit, man. Like really be aware of what's being said before I even get a chance to be on the podium and speak for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these people saying all these things about what's going on with me, and it's just not true. Pay attention to what's going on out in the real world. You know, people are losing their jobs to these mandates. People are having to make choices with their own lives, which I respect. You know, and I don't want to sit here and play on people's emotions either. Just use logic. You know, what would you do? You know, if you felt uncomfortable going into the season when you were promised that you would have exemptions or that you didn't have to be forced to get the vaccine. You know, this wasn't an issue before the season started. This wasn't something that I foresaw coming, where I prepared for it. And, I had a chance to strategize on what was going to be best for me and my family. I came into the season thinking that I was just going to be able to play ball, be able to use my talent to continue to, inspire, influence people in the right way. You know, like putting this on me is just like, why are you putting it on me? You know, like this is not part of, what's going on in conversations with scientists, physicians, and doctors. I'm just a hooper, right? Like I'm just a person who's being utilized as an example. For some odd reason, people love to have my name in the mix of just some BS.
Good Lord have mercy. Just heard that Kyrie Irving was on Instagram Live. Try to let it go. Try to leave it alone. Ain't about disagreeing. Ain't about vaccines or anti-vaccines. You know something? I'm just gonna wait until tomorrow morning. I think somebody told me, because I didn't see it, somebody told me that he said that he hopes that the media plays what he actually said live on Instagram. Okay. Okay. Take a deep breath. Think about all the other stuff that I got to talk about. Just when I was going to let it go, he's making news again. So I will see y'all tomorrow morning on First Take. I have a lot to say then. I am no anti-vaxxer. I have been vaccinated. Jay's been vaccinated. I think Kendrick Perkins, I know you have. And we all believe you should get vaccinated. But I am no anti-vaxxer. Let me be very, very clear about that. I have an issue with Kyrie Irving. And by the way, as I tried to say yesterday, but I'll say today, it ain't about the vaccine. It's about what I label to be his selfishness when it comes to being a teammate of Kevin Durant, James Harden, and the rest of the crew with the Brooklyn Nets. That is the issue for me. If you don't want to take the vaccine, that's your choice. You are absolutely right. It's a personal choice, and it's other people's choice to react whatever way they want to. I choose to focus on a couple of things here. Kyrie Irving has been in this league for damn near 10 years, if I remember correctly, about 10 years now. He's played over 70 games 3 times. This is the same Kyrie Irving that got hurt before the global pandemic became official, essentially, and before the season was brought to a halt. When the season was scheduled to resume in a bubble, he was a vice president in a players association who had encouraged people not to participate in play in Orlando in the bubble. But he did so on his own without talking to CP3 and them and letting them know what his position was going to be publicly. They had to find out like the rest of us. He didn't play then. Then he's gone, so you take into account he got hurt and had only played 20 games. He got hurt, season gets halted. What does he do? He comes back 10 months later, 10 months after the season was resumed in December. Another season, started in December. And 2 weeks in, 7 games into the season, Kyrie Irving needs a break, disappears for personal reasons, initially didn't tell the coach or anybody else, okay? Knew he was supposed to come back, got caught partying with his sister, you understand what I'm saying? And at a party, all right, where you were exposed to all of that contact tracing and stuff like that, where KD even had to be pulled from some games because accidentally or whatever, they found that he could have potentially been exposed. So you had all of these things going on. My point is transition that to where we are now. And where we are now is yet another reason why Kyrie Irving isn't playing basketball. KD is in Brooklyn because of you. James Harden, to a lesser degree, is in Brooklyn because of you. You helped bring these brothers together. And that's where I'm coming from. It is my belief. I'm not trying to say forget the vaccine because I understand that's a part of this discussion. Again, but what I'm focusing on and what I want people to know that I'm focusing on about Kyrie Irving is I believe you helped assemble all of this and you've left these dudes hanging yet again. Now, we can sit up there and say this has nothing to do with everything else that's going on in this past. Fair enough. But the one consistent common denominator that is inescapable is A, Kyrie Irving is a distraction. B, it usually involves him missing time on the job, which he signed up to do, which he encouraged other people to do, which he's getting $35 million a year to play. These are all the things that I'm pointing to. And that's where I want to go from there before we even get into what he said last night. Floor is y'all's.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing, right? We all have our rights and everybody have the freedom to do whatever they want with their body. But Stephen A., you made one word stand out to me just now. Clear. Clear. And you have certain people that go on here and say, you know what? Kyrie Irving is a version of Colin Kaepernick. No, the hell he's not. Because Colin Kaepernick made it very, very clear where he stands, okay, or where he stood for us with the NFL. I don't know where Kyrie Irving stands. He's all over the place, as you would say. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm watching the IG Live. I'm watching some of the former brotherhood, NBA brotherhoods, and they saying, go Kyrie. Oh, yeah, you're doing the right thing. I stand with Kyrie. But guess what? It's another brother that's in the NBA, that's in Minnesota, that lost 6 family members, including his mama, God rest her soul, by the name of Karl Anthony Towns. And he made it very, very clear to everybody where he stood with this vaccination. And he told people, go get vaccinated. You want to know something? When I saw what Karl Anthony Towns went through, that's what made me choose a side. And my thing is with Kyrie Irving, yes, it is your body. But tell me, what are you standing for? Make it clear to me. Because watching the IG Live yesterday, it wasn't clear. And it's not clear to this day. It's still not clear today as we wake up. It's murky. As Molly just said, it's murky. So I'm not telling the man what to do. I'm saying, give us some clarification. And by the way, the media, right? The media, oh man, y'all always want to point me out. You're a superstar, Kyrie. When you sign up to go to the NBA, you sign up for the media.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published, Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For I have complete confidence in the response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors. For as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. We intend to accept full responsibility for our errors, and we expect you to point them out when we miss them. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. And that is why our press was protected by the First Amendment, the only business in America specifically protected by the Constitution, not primarily to amuse and entertain, not to emphasize the trivial and the sentimental, not to simply give the public what it wants, but to inform, to arouse, to reflect, to state our dangers and our opportunities, to indicate our crises and our choices, to lead, mold, educate, and sometimes even anger public opinion. This means greater coverage and analysis of international news, for it is no longer far away and foreign, but close at hand and local. It means greater attention to improved understanding of the news, as well as improved transmission. And it means, finally, that government at all levels must meet its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits of national security. And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.